Hello everybody, welcome to What's Happening in Brazil. We began with the week's latest news.
One of the most diverse ecosystems in the world, the Brazilian wetlands known as Pantanal, is going through one of the biggest droughts and highest number of wildfires on record. This year alone, more than 1.2 million hectares of land burned down. In Brazil, the Pantanal is present in the states of Mato Grosso and Mato Grosso do Sul, in the country's Midwest. According to experts, the drought is occurring due to climate and water imbalances brought on by the destruction of important ecosystems such as the highlands and mainly the Amazon. Another factor responsible for all this is the agricultural sector's actions, cutting down trees to replace them with vegetation more resistant to cattle. A study undertaken by the SOS Pantanal Institute shows that around 50% of the system's landmass has already been converted into pastures. The lack of environmental oversight is also an alarming factor. Since the start of the Jair Bolsonaro government, entities responsible for preserving the country's wildlife have been suffering cuts. Dom Pedro Casaldáliga, a supporter of liberation theology, died this week aged 90. He was renowned for his defense of indigenous populations. He had a history of respiratory problems and died of a pulmonary embolism. Dom Pedro Casaldáliga was born in Spain, but moved to Brazil in the 60s at the height of the military dictatorship. He became a bishop in 1971 and in the same year published a letter condemning the violent situation of slavery Amazonian communities were facing. He was also a founding member of the Council of Indigenous Peoples and the Pastoral Land Commission, both till this day acting to defend indigenous and traditionalist communities, as well as rural workers. He was laid to rest at the Carajás Cemetery, the area where original populations and landless workers that were exploited and sometimes murdered by land grabbers were often buried.
A network of militants and volunteers involved in the production and preparation of organic foods has joined forces to distribute solidarity and healthy foods to those facing hunger during the pandemic. Organized by the Zilda Camargo Ramos Brigade, the campaign called Fight Like You Care engaged in field actions in partnership with other social movements at an encampment in the city of São Paulo.
Healthy foods, collective efforts, and aid for those in need. These are the guiding principles of the Fight Like You Care campaign. The campaign is run by social movements and brought together volunteers with the aim of distributing ready-made meals to those facing hunger during the pandemic. The campaign began in April and has been distributing around 300 meals every single day. The food is organic and provided by a network of family farmers associated with the Landless Workers Movement, or MST.
This is a movement that is supported by MST, so I think from all sides we have enough awareness to work with organic foods, with family farmers. We have to know that on one end there is a crisis, so it's a beautiful movement from start to finish, starting with where the food comes from till where it ends up going to.
The campaign in São Paulo distributes food in partnership with the Street Network and the Immigrant Building, which provides shelter to people from other countries in vulnerable situations. Sonia, a resident of the settlement, is a volunteer in its kitchen.
We have joined forces to provide meals to those who really need them. So many times we are at home doing nothing. With the isolation of this pandemic, we get very sad. So we joined forces so that everyone can come to the kitchen and take part in this beautiful project that is Fight Like You Care.
And we know that this is only the beginning, that this crisis will create a much bigger one, and that those who had little will have even less. So this network coming together for this purpose is very important.
Every year, mainly in the north and northeastern regions of the country, a cultural tradition known as Bumba Meu Boi, which involves lots of dancing, songs, parades, and theater, is celebrated. The folk legend, born in the 18th century, is considered Brazilian cultural heritage and has strong African and indigenous influences.
Bumba Meu Boi is a Brazilian folk festival that enchants with its human and animal characters. The legend and script are about the death and resurrection of a bull that could dance. A rich farmer has one of his bulls stolen by a worker who wanted to fulfill his wife's desire of eating ox tongue. However, the thief soon becomes repentant and is forgiven by the rancher, who throws a big feast in honor of the bull. The tradition is considered to be a Brazilian cultural heritage. With origins dating to the 18th century, it has strong African and indigenous influences.
E é uma honra muito grande
It's a huge honor to be leading a talent group such as this, immaterial heritage of the world, right? Of humanity. Bumba Meu Boi doesn't only involve dance, not just spectacle. We leave the question of religion within Bumba Meu Boi.
The cultural tradition is mainly upheld in the north and northeastern regions of the country, but is known in other parts as an important cultural trait. Besides the more common Bumba Meu Boi name, the festival is also known as Boi Mestre Apolônio and Boi Bumbá.
So that people are better able to understand the Boi Bumbá here in Amazonas. It's worthwhile to note that it has its origins in the northeast with Bumba Meu Boi. But Boi Bumbá has some characteristics specific to Amazonas. It represents some of the rituals, the folklores, the legends of our region. This celebration happens on the island of Paritins, which is 420 kilometers from the state capital, and is attended by people from all over the world.
In today's Brazilianese, more great flavors and sounds from Brazil.
Olá, gente!
Hello, I'm here to share with you another recipe, sweet potato chips, or fried sweet potatoes. I got the sweet potato, I run it through here to slice it, but you can also cut it with a knife. It will cook the same way. Here it's already thinly sliced. Another option is to grate it like this, which would be a different type of potato chip, more like potato sticks. Let's fry it. My oil is already hot. How do I know it's at the right temperature? Take a matchstick and place it inside. When it lights, you know it's at the right temperature and it's going to work. I then add the potatoes to the pan in the hot oil or lard. Let it fry. It's really quick, so keep an eye out. Now I remove the potato from the oil. The potato chips have already cooked. 2-3 minutes and it's ready. Take a look, it's crunchy, it breaks off. It's no different to another potato. Season it with salt and it's all done. I also fried that other version I've mentioned before with the grated potato. Keep in mind it fries really quickly, in about a minute or so. It ends up like potato sticks that you can put on top of rice, beans, meat or anything you like.
If you like the video, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel and share. See you next week!